And welcome to the We Like Sports Show. This is your host, Ed in Columbus. Flying solo right now. Hopefully we'll have Casey, Keith, and CJ on in a bit. But I want to welcome you all to our show. It's been a fun week in sports. Lot going on. Obviously with Major League Baseball and college football. Oh, look who decided to show up. My co-host, Casey, decided to show up. What's going on, my guy?
I had to make sure I matched with you today, Ed.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, nice. Love it. Love it. Yes, we will get into some Cleveland Browns preseason football and some Browns news and notes and everything like that. But let's pay some bills first. Obviously, you got the tank top on, and there's a reason because you got the guns. You got the guns. You got something that not everybody has, but they will have. They head on over to Titan Nutrition. Do you need a pre-workout? The We Like Sports Show and Titan Nutrition have teamed up. So head over to titannutrition.net/We Like Sports. Get 10% off your order, and pretty soon you'll have the guns that Casey has. And also, check out the Snooze You Lose podcast with Uncle Joe, the Black Bookie. He has you set for your Sunday Snooze You Lose pick of the week. It will surely add sports entertainment value, also cash in your wallet. So check.
He even threw a surprise pick on Wednesday up.
He did. So check that out. Like I said, midweek, weekends, he's got you covered. So head over to the Snooze You Lose podcast, Uncle Joe, the Black Bookie. All right, Casey.
Speaking of bills you got to pay, I think Ed's got a bill he needs to pay.
I do, and we will address that. Let's get into it. I want to welcome on Keith. Hey, Keith, what's going on, my guy?
What's good? What's going on, fellas?
Well,
What's up,
Casey
Keith?
mentioned it, so I will be the first. Well, I got to be the only one to address it since I'm the one that made the bet. But on the July 24th edition of the We Like Sports Show, we were talking about one Miles Straw. Now I guess you can call him Miles Strawberry. He's hitting so many home runs. But I did make a proclamation that if Miles Straw hit one home run this year, not even, just this year, that I would get Casey a Miles Straw.
And Keith, I don't know if you're aware, but there was a plot twist to all of this. I was actually at the game that he hit the home run at.
Oh my!
I think
what are
sure
the odds?
You sure you didn't give him nothing to increase his power swing?
He gave him Keith. He gave him that Titan Nutrition. That's what he gave
That's
him.
right, yeah.
That's
I
what he
drove down to
did.
Tampa to give him the Titan Nutrition. You're correct. I was trying to, I said get with him yesterday after the game, but gonna get close enough to I try to tell him what Ed owes me now. So.
Well, you know what? I would think Miles, if you're listening, you're welcome on the show anytime. But I just want to say why I'm glad you picked that time and place to hit the home run.
And it didn't matter either for the game.
It
The
did,
game
yeah.
was over.
I was just about to say that. Can you make one in a game that counts? But look,
Yeah.
we have another guest. Let's see if he's alive and well right now. And this is the real one. Let's see here. Peyton Vince.
Uh-oh.
This is
alive.
this is a perfect time for him to come on too if he's actually coming on. Oh,
There
there we
we
go.
go.
So speaking
There
of the
he
Tampa
is.
Bay Rays, speaking of good players, baseball, softball, Wander Franco has a similar issue with Peyton Vince. I see an MLB going on too right now. What do you think, Peyton?
Dude, the Wander Franco stuff, it's how much money do you think that Rays are dreading giving him right now, honestly? Like, you end up having how much millions?
Did you think anyone would guess that would happen?
I mean, honestly, I don't and the thing is, too, is I saw something on Twitter and somebody was like, well, at least in the Dominican Republic, there's no real suspension or crime against it. But the thing is, though, is that you're in the MLB now. Like, if Pete Rose got suspended for gambling, what's going to happen to Wander Franco?
It's interesting. That is for sure. I don't know. Is it true? Is it not true? You know how stuff goes nowadays with people just trying to spoil people's career to get money. But if it's true, it's interesting.
There has been a report on somebody's Instagram. I couldn't tell you whose, but kind of somebody ended up posting along the lines that Franco ended up kind of getting blackmailed into this, and
yeah.
You don't know that many people. You don't know who that account is. You don't know if it's a burner account. There's so much different ways that you hide yourself now on social media that, you don't know who's actually telling the truth right now. If we're being
Correct.
honest, nobody knows what's going on outside of Wander Franco and that 14-year-old girl. And that's sad that that's a real sentence too.
So you have so I had boots on the ground. We like sports show boots on the ground this weekend. Help me Ed in Columbus. But at yesterday's game, they were giving away hats, right? Rays hats. It was yellow with kind of like a rainbow, turning into a rainbow with other colors into the brim, right? And it was for kids 14 and under. And guess who was on the side of that hat?
That was that Wander Franco hat. I did see
Wander
about it, but I didn't know about it yet.
Yep. So they had a hat giveaway for the kids under 14, and ironically under 14, and it had a Wander Franco number 5 batting on the side of it. So it's just ironic on the day that this comes out is the same day that his hat was coming out for a free giveaway and the age of 14. I bet
Casey's spoiling some of Breakhead news. Breakhead news that might be in Breakhead news soon to be coming. Just letting you know.
We're just on the same wavelength now for doing this together for so long.
That is correct. But I don't know. I mean, anytime there's an extortion, I mean, look at the Deshaun Watson case with all that, and the allegations that he had come out with him, and obviously there was money paid, and you never know, he might have got himself in a situation where now that family, because he said, from what I've seen some reports, that he had been giving that family some money. So who knows, maybe, they wanted more money and he said no, and now it's coming out now and everything. So we'll just let that play out. But it's an unfortunate situation for such a great baseball player. And hopefully he'll get that situation resolved. But I can't really say much to that until further, because it wouldn't be fair. But all we can do is report the facts and everything. And, basically you do have, a story on social media of him with some kind of entanglement with a 14-year-old, and Major League Baseball is looking into it. The Rays have put him on the restricted list, and from what I saw on social media with Jeff Passan, he's saying that basically is a designated spot that they can place him in, that they don't have to pay him. So, looking from the Rays standpoint, that they can put him on a leave with leave without pay kind of status. And I know he signed a big I think he signed a contract or did something.
He did sign a contract with the Rays.
Yeah, so we'll have to see.
It was 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite hefty of a deal. So
I mean, but before the scandal, it was, he was worth the money.
Imagine how much too, just to end up giving a different aspect, because I feel like this isn't something a lot of sports shows end up talking about anymore. But let's end up looking at trading cards even. The value of a Wander Franco rookie card has probably drastically went down compared to what last year was his rookie year, and you ended up making however much money. I want to know the percentage that value, that if you held onto that card, what it is now, because it's a big allegation right now. Like, whether or not it's true or not, we don't know anything outside of the two parties, I think, like Ed said.
Yeah,
but you look at both ways though with the card. What if it's fake, right? And his card value goes down, and someone buys the cards when it's down in case it is a fake scandal and nothing's actually real from this.
Well, then you're betting on yourself that it'll go up in the future. Then you can make a killing off it. So I mean, but I think the Peyton's point right now, I would definitely lean the way that he's kind of getting at, where that's if you have one, I'd sell it tonight before other people find out about it. That's all I got.
Well, he signed the contract, 11 years, $182 million is what he signed.
And this was in today's baseball. That's not even that big.
This was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know, but you got to, because there's no salary cap.
I mean, the Rays are a small market team like the Guardians are, so I mean, it's not like the Yankees making that kind of deal, or the Dodgers.
And speaking of, the Rays, who probably I think he did have the highest batting average, hit leadoff for him this year.
Another former tribesman.
Yandy Diaz.
Yeah, Yandy Diaz, man, 321 he was hitting. I think this weekend when I was looking at that. Can you imagine, you got Jose at third, right? But could you say I think Diaz played first, I think, in one of the games. So you put him at first, you run Jose at third, you've got Jimenez in the middle, wherever you want to put him, and then you just got one of those young guys at short, and you're set. You know, that's a tough
Well, you know who
infield
else
for
we
years.
could use on the Rays that I saw? Don't they have Harold Ramirez? Or
Yeah,
whatever? He's
Yep.
batting like 291. You telling me that we couldn't use a batter batting 291 on our team?
We let him go. We got him in the Rule 5, I think. Was it last year? Rule 5, we took him. And then he was tough for us.
Yeah.
But then we just didn't re-sign him. Like, you know, he played a good part out there. It's like the Abraham Almonte.
Yeah.
You know, so here and there they have that.
Before the steroids?
Yeah, exactly. But you get those guys. We talk all the time. We say it. You know, every year the Guardians get a guy or two that you don't ever hear of. Stephen Kwan. You know, Bybee wasn't huge. Logan Allen wasn't huge that are standing out the way they are. But it's just tough, you know. So and the guy we traded for, the first baseman, he probably won't be on our team till next year, I think. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
and then
I
Savali.
saw the guy Kyle Manzarata, I think his like the name is the pronunciation, but I know his first name's Kyle. But I want to say like the MLB pipeline, he's a top like 30 or 40 prospect even. So if that's what you're getting for Savali, and Savali is just, I mean, being Cleveland fans, he was probably a 1 year wonder in reality. If you're getting a prospect like that, and you have Josh Naylor DHing, and you find a right fielder, the future looks bright. But at the same time, as a Guardians fan, I don't want to talk about the future right now.
It's like I said, it's simple. They suck.
Well, you know what? We are going to talk about the future of the Guardians because there's still some good points. And like you said to me, Peyton, about the Guardians' young starting pitcher with Gavin Williams' last 2 starts of 12 innings, 6 hits, only 1 run, 1 walk, and 22 strikeouts. I mean, you saw firsthand that the pitching prowess of the Cleveland Guardians and what they're going to be in the future. And, you know, I think a lot of this season is been wasted because, you know, whether the bullpen blows it like we saw Saturday. I mean, they're getting great quality starting pitching, and that's without Tristan McKenzie. That's without Shane Bieber. That's without Aaron Savali. That's without Cal Quantrill, who we thought going into the year was going to hold it down at the 4th or 5th spot.
He got rocked in the minors in his rehab start. 1.1 innings, 7 runs.
I mean, the future is definitely bright. And like I said, Casey, tell us about those young arms that you saw for the Guardians this past weekend at Tropicana Field.
Yeah, so the interesting thing, because, you know, I got the games early. I was looking at the screen. I didn't run the scoreboard before. I'm looking at it, and I said, man, we're 4.5 games back from the Twins, right? And this was yesterday, right? So they already lost those first 2 games. And I'm thinking, damn, we should have won the game on Friday. We had that one. It was 8-5. We came back with those 3 wild pitches, which you've never, ever seen. We scored 3 runs without getting a hit, which is insane to do in the 9th. We're down 8-5. Second pitch in, what happens? Home run walk-off. Got to go to the second day. We got the lead.
That was by Franco, too.
Yeah, exactly. You're thinking, man, we're good. We're good here. Look, we have nothing to worry about. What happens? Clase comes in, blows it. We had that throw from short that took 4 bounces to get there to lose the game. That sucked. Then you go into the game on Sunday. It's like, damn, like it's hitting so hard because we're losing these games we have. And I'm looking at the standings, 4.5 games back. That's 2 wins right there. You know, you get so much closer. Then I can go into Sunday, 3rd inning, 7-1, 6-1 or something. I said, this game's over. Like, there's no way they're going to lose this now. Look at Jimenez, got 9 total bases or something, 7 total. He was killing it. Everyone was hitting the ball. So that was impressive. Like the pitching you talked about. Gavin Williams, I mean, he's the real deal. Like, I think for sure. And then you look at what's Espinino, right? The one in the mind that got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt, but he should be coming back.
They said his stuff is better than Gavin Williams.
Whoa.
And Gavin Williams is good. Like, you know, going into the other, that's what they said. So you have that, and then they said Bybee's strong. Logan Allen's what Quantrill should be.
Yes,
right.
Thank you.
You know, that's where we wish that he was at. And then with Gavin Williams, his ERA is incredible for what was the circumstances, and his win-loss is horrible. And you look at Bybee, right? He gets the run support. Like, it's all about, you know, every year. I forgot who it was a couple of years ago, but they pitched strong and wouldn't get the run support. Kluber didn't get the run support, and then I think Quantrill was getting a ton of it last year with the way that worked out.
Yep, because it was like his day. Quantrill's day was after like Plesac or Savali, and that's when they were kind of like known to a point, but not confirmed, as like the players weren't going to want to play for him because they were too like, I don't even want to word it that way, but they were like too babyish when it ended up coming to an injury. Like they didn't end up trying to end up participating through it. And then you end up having Quantrill. You have the team erupt for like 5 to 6 runs. But I have one more question for Casey of the We Like Sports Show before I head out. You saw Rocchio live and in person. And I want to know what your thoughts are seeing him too, because Ed saw him in AAA. I think Rocchio is looking a lot better too, and I think he's got the spot at shortstop right now. I don't think Arias does. I don't think Freeman does. Rocchio's getting hot at the right time.
So it's interesting, right? So we talked about Arias, right? We talked about it a couple times, in a while, but about a month ago when we made that trade without Rosario, and before that we knew we were getting rid of him. Who do we think was gonna step up and take shortstop, right? So I was not big on Arias at all, but he hit a bomb. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. This shit was deep center. Like it was the middle of the outfield. That last part of left field before it bends straight. He hit it like 10 rows up there, right? That was impressive, to say the least. But you don't see that often for the Guardians. We know that with Naylor, we don't see that at all, right? So that was incredible. But then you got Freeman. I think he does. I think he's good. He was hitting around 300, I think, before he went down. Maybe 280, right? And that's good. He hustles, right? And it's like I said with Straw. I like Miles Straw because it happened twice.
Miles Strawberry now.
It happened twice this weekend. There was a guy on third, a guy on first, one out. All right? What's Straw do? Chopper to shortstop. Throws the second, gets the first out, and relays the first. Guess what happens? Beats it out, run scores. There's a run we wouldn't have had if it was, let's say, Arias that hit that, right? Or if it was Brennan that hit that. So then the next game, same exact thing happens. He beats that. That's 2 runs we got, right? It'll be counted easy. You got a fielder's choice. But he brought that run in that wouldn't have scored before. It would have been double play, end of inning, we're pitching, right? So I think that's big to have with Freeman. He hustles through the play, I feel. And Rocchio, this weekend, he's strong. You got to put him in the right spot.
His range on one thing I'll say when I saw him in Columbus, his range, and I think even major league, like there's no doubt defensively he's a major leaguer. Now I always think it's with the Guardians anytime it's the hitting that's going to truly be the test for them.
Correct. And it's Arias still had some good defensive plays this weekend as well. And we haven't talked. Because I saw him again, like I said, nonstop this weekend. Cole Calhoun and Ramon Laureano, right? What do you think of that?
Next year. They're not going to be here next year.
Calhoun's he's doing pretty well. He's hitting. They put him at first base last week. That was a poor choice. We lost that game because the class had that save last week. He's played 9 games at first. Don't think he should be playing there. No, he brings leadership to the team, and he was a Gold Glover. Years ago, and he has some power when he gets because I think it was one of the games he hit 2 or 3 to deep center. It was warning track.
He might replace your boy next year on the roster.
Straw.
if he's on the roster next year, I'm just saying. I really don't.
Laureano even. I think he got an arm on him. I sat one day in right field, first row. He's got a strong arm, right? He misplayed the one that was in the second game that we lost in the extras, right? But he did play. He has a good arm, right? You're not running on him. I saw a lot of guys turning second and not going to third because who was out there, right? And he played on the Oakland A's, right? We talk about the Oakland A's every week.
You mean the Las Vegas A's?
Would you not be disappointed in the press to play on a team with 30 wins, 33 and 85, right? Why am I playing? I'm 32 games back from even the wild card. Why am I even playing? So that's the tough thing, I think, with it, right? So I think he has a chance. He has some power, I feel, when he hits the ball, if he could find it at the end of the year, because we have him, and he's under contract next year. I think it's arbitration next year for him. So we could keep him out there instead of Straw, let's just say, if we wanted to. But you have Austin Hedges, right? We loved Austin Hedges.
My stomach is hurting.
Oh, They said it may hurt when you hear Austin Hedges, but I got to shit when I hear Cam Gallagher because he is horrible. He should not be on our team. He should not be in the MLB. Not even on the 40-man roster. That was what I also gathered from the one game he played this weekend. It was pathetic. And that's the one rant I wanted to hit because it frustrated me on Saturday when he was in that game. Guys are running scoring position, double play, strikeout, looking at a pitch down the middle. Like, what are we doing? And he's not saving runs anymore defensively, I feel. And then he calls a good game, they say, but the bullpen has sucked since the All-Star break. I think we all three could agree.
Yeah,
they've sucked. Yeah. Right.
I brought that up a few times.
Yeah, and last year they were tough. We had a tough bullpen, right? Who was our catcher though? Austin Hedges all the time. And is he hitting that much worse than Gallagher? He's hitting better than Gallagher. Maybe a little worse than Naylor. But I don't think it would be bad to run Hedges as that two games a week and Naylor 5 instead of Gallagher if he would have kept him. And the leadership, he's like a Naylor. They're all hyped up, getting the team in good spirits type player.
Casey, do it. Let's have a check. What is Bo Naylor batting?
Hey, and I don't want to say I'm an expert on the Cleveland Guardians, but like I said, I watched them pretty close this weekend. Like I said, before the game, I was like an hour early, right, and stayed after. So, like, I feel like I got boots on the ground. I'm Andre Knott, I feel like right now, but less annoying.
Fair enough.
So,
but like I said,
I'm pulling it up right now.
There's a couple things on the We Like Sports show that we're going to keep track of. It's going to be obviously be Bo Naylor's batting average because I said he would hit his weight, which is 205. Unfortunately, he's dipped below that, and I don't think he's above it. Was he at $198?
Like 198, yeah.
196.
196. Oh,
and his weight is 205, so he's 9 away.
Right. And
he got lucky yesterday because everyone was getting hits. So he got lucky yesterday to get those numbers up.
And I got two questions for you, Casey, in your fun-filled trip to Tropicana Field. I saw it on the television broadcast, but did you go to where I believe that would be left field, maybe where the Devil Rays are, where they got the pond and you can actually see the rays that they have? So there? Did you see any of those?
It's such a strange setup at that stadium that the top rows don't even sell tickets. Like in Progressive Field, the upper deck?
Yeah.
Upper deck doesn't have any tickets for sale at all. None.
Whoa.
Right? So that just tells you there. The bleachers in left field probably have about 20 rows. Right, our bleachers in Cleveland, I feel like it's got 40 to 50, right?
Yep.
On big games, they're sold out.
Yes.
That was about 20 rows at most, maybe 15. Right field's about the same setup, right? And there's no upper deck in right field like how we have, right? You have that little bend, and it's up there or stuff like that. None of that either, right? So it's such a smaller stadium, and it was sold out, and it looked empty because the top rows are all blue seats. All the balls that go up there stay up there. The highest seating is the broadcast booth.
Oh, wow.
They might be the next team to relocate.
Exactly. And they're not actually in Tampa. They're in St. Petersburg, which is 30 to 40 minutes from downtown Tampa, where the Lightning play. Right? So the Lightning play in downtown Tampa.
So it's the same with the Buccaneers, right?
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation, right? So I will probably tell you there was all 3 days almost equal fans for Cleveland.
Wow,
right?
I did see a lot of
and I stayed over in a hotel like a half mile away, so we walked all 3 games, safe middle parking, etc. And our hotel every day I saw people with Guardian stuff on, right? So people are traveling from around to go see them.
Oh yeah.
And there were some Tampa fans around saying, like, we were like, talking about stuff, and they said, like, yeah, this is a pretty good turnout for like Cleveland this week. We normally do, we're normally like kind of split, but Cleveland got a good showing for the distance away. So that was actually surprising. It's always weird for me to go to games that I'm the away team because all the shit that gets all music and all that stuff, noise when the good things happen for us, it's reversed. So I mean, it's strange that
concession
way.
prices. Like okay, so how were they compared to like
Cleveland's cheaper.
Okay.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and they actually, you know how they had the helmet nachos at Progressive Field?
Yep.
With like the pork or the chicken.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
So that's like $15. So good. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I wanted to get some this weekend, right? They don't have that. They have this tray, and I'm not bullshitting you. This big, I would say, this high, nachos, $38
what?
for that. Yes, right. You get
I'm not
a lot
hungry.
of
I'm not
food.
hungry anymore.
You gotta split that
Right.
between 4 people, man. Like how big that is. You got 4 people. You gotta split it between. Right. So they don't have, and you know how they got like fat heads and melt and local stuff around in there. They didn't have any of that. They have Dippin' Dots, the ballpark classics, right? Nathan's hot dogs, So and the chili cheese dog you get, I got one. It's chili out of the machine and the cheese out of the machine, right? So it's not like if you go to one of those melt things and you get something like that, it'll be a Happy Dog. It'll be actual chili, as they made.
Yeah.
So it's a bad experience for baseball fan, And I brought someone for the first time over to a baseball game, never went before. And I said, Progressive Field, watching games there is 20 times better than watching a game here.
Oh, yeah.
It's indoors. Doesn't even feel like you're watching it. It's indoor softball league. I'm watching Peyton Vince's indoor softball league, it feels.
Oh.
And you got to think with Progressive Field actually now being one of the oldest stadiums.
And I think it's nice. I think they do a good job maintaining it and keeping it updated.
And they're about to redo it anyway. So
I agree. They're going to $320-some million to redo it, and a lot of the renovations, like Tony Rizzo on ESPN Cleveland says, is they've always kept it up so the fans see it as a gem on the corner of Carnegie and Ontario. But they said they need to do redo the clubhouses more for the players, the stuff that we don't see. But one thing that the Guardians/Indians have done over the years has made it fan friendly. It's like all the renovations that they've done, we've actually got to see them because they're part of, whether it be the stands, whether it be having the corner bar, having the
Heritage Park
from that standpoint. But they do need the renovations and upgrades more for the clubhouses and things that the players would actually take care of themselves. So I think
it's like the concourse experience. Right?
Yeah, right. That's great. Yeah, yes.
That is what it is.
Yeah,
the concourse experience here blows. The concourse experience, I said you could put me, if you close my eyes and put me anywhere in Progressive Field in the concourse, I could tell you exactly where I'm at. Yeah. That, and I could tell you where I'm at. I could say, I'm third baseline. I'm
and
first
you can
baseline.
see the game. Yeah.
Yes, it's more of an open thing where it's kind of like going to a basketball arena where the concourse is separate. You don't see anything. It's dark or it's light, and then once you get inside, it's pitch black. That's kind of how it is, there.
Wow. Yeah, well, like I said, Major League Baseball. Okay, so I mean, I think we talked about the Rondo Franco thing. I don't want to get too much more involved until some more news comes out.
I just say let it play its course.
Yeah, I agree.
Course,
Guardians, young pitching. I will say one thing. I think we should get into it because obviously it's not what everybody's talking about, but I want to hit it for at least 5 minutes because we named our show that, but. NBA Hall of Fame enshrinement. We had Nowitzki, Tony Parker, Paul Gasol, and Dwayne Wade enshrined. And, I just want to say, of all those 4 players, is there any one of them that you don't think is deserving? I think all of them are deserving. I think
they all deserving.
They're all deserving. I think one thing with the, and I don't even know, it's a Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not really just like an NBA thing. But I think the one thing that I wanted to talk about was Tony Parker and Dirk Nowitzki, because, well, actually even Paul Gasol is, got that international flavor that's taking over basketball, and started in. I think that started. It's funny, Keith, because we're OGs, we're old cats here, but you think back to 1992, and you think of the Dream Team that went over to Barcelona, Spain.
Yes, sir.
Ever since that moment. That's when the rest of the world said we got to compete. And if you look at international basketball, especially in Europe since 92 on, it's definitely gotten better. And you look at players like Nowitzki, Parker, and Gasol. It's like they are definitely the products that European basketball has definitely spit out to try to compete on the international level with America and the NBA. And I'll say one thing about Dirk Nowitzki. What I really liked about him was you look at 2006 and the Mavericks against the Heat. They were up 2-0. They were actually up in that game 3 big time against the Heat. And the Heat came back and won 4 straight games with Shaq and Dwayne Wade. And what impresses me about Dirk Nowitzki was he came back in 2011. LeBron goes to Miami, and you got, the dream, the big 3. And then those Dallas Mavericks with Jason Terry and Dirk Nowitzki, they took down as in Cleveland, because we were hurt, the Mavaliers or the Maverick, whatever, Cabricks, as we had called them at the time. But, the fact that Dirk Nowitzki got that one championship, to me, it immortalizes him. And it's such a great player. And, he was the modern day kind of like Larry Bird. You got a 7-foot guy that you can't block when he shoots it, but then he's got the style, the way that he shoots it, just like Larry Bird. It's like there's no defense against that. And so that's my one take on Dirk Nowitzki. Keith, what's your take on any one of those 3 guys, or just anything in general with Hall of Fame? Because like I said, I wanted to hit on that. Nobody's really talking about it. I wanted to be able to get it.
If you think about it, each one of them was epic. If you think about it, Tony Parker.
Yeah,
was a big part of the Spurs titles.
Yeah, he beat Cleveland in 07. We know all about that in Cleveland in 07.
We couldn't guard him.
We couldn't
guard him. Then you got Dirk. Dirk actually reshaped the game for power forwards.
Yep.
Because power forwards wasn't shooting outside like Dirk was. Till Dirk came. And then Dwayne Wade.
Cool. Enough
said, I say more. And think about this also. Paul Gasol restarted the Lakers' resurgence when they made that trade and got him, that midseason trade.
They got 2 titles out of that.
Yes, they got 2 titles out of that. And think about it. Paul Gasol was probably the least fanfare out of all 4.
But might have been the most important part of that, if you think about it.
He was.
Yeah,
he was.
You put him on the teams instead of Kevin Love, like for the Cavs. Let's just say, if we had a Paul Gasol instead of a Kevin Love,
might have would have won 3 titles.
Yeah. That's the game changer. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the game changer. Well, I was going to say Jimmy Butler, all right? Thinking of Dirk Nowitzki, I was trying to think of players that compare to him per se, right?
Yeah.
Bring teams with not many stars, it's kind of make your own and
Yeah.
run it, right?
Yep.
So if Butler right now, Butler has no championship, right?
Right.
Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So he doesn't need a ring to become a Hall of Famer.
He's been MVP of Eastern Conference championships. He's taken 2 Miami Heat teams that, let's be real, had no business.
That's what I'm saying.
To where they are. You look at his numbers. He's you know what it is? He does it on both ends of the court. I think that, and also too, I think what the Hall of Fame for, pro basketball, because it's more than just the NBA, it's all pro basketball. I think that you look at what he's done for basketball, because I look at the NBA, it's such a global game. And he's one of those players where I don't think that it's not like LeBron or Kobe or anything like that, but the NBA loves players like Jimmy Butler because they can get hot at certain points, and that trends up for the NBA. You look at probably the ratings of Miami Heat games as the Heat, win games, and that's attributed to someone like Jimmy Buckets and everything like that. So yeah, I definitely think he's definitely a Hall of Famer, but also to the fact that, like I said, you're taking teams that are just no business being there.
Took 2 of them.
Took two of them. So yeah, you're down. Obviously, you're down in Orlando, obviously in Florida, but yeah. Obviously, Miami's still a ways away from you, but do you see a lot of Dwayne Wade jerseys when you're at the park and everything still, or is it? I mean, or not quite so much, or what would you say his approval rate? If Dwayne Wade runs for governor of Florida, I mean, is he still like a big favorite down there?
I mean, so for example, all right, I've got 2 Dwayne Wade jerseys, Heat jerseys. I mean, I like them, but I'm not like, I don't love them. I like the jerseys, right? And he was the player, he wasn't like a shit starter. He had a good game. I like number 3, right? So I like those, the Miami Vice or Miami White ones, like the white ones, the neon, black one. I've got those. But I mean, I would say LeBron, man. If you ask who I see jerseys the most of, let's say, it's LeBron.
Are they Lakers, Cavs, or Heat?
Lakers. for sure. Steph Curry, is another one that people really wear. Jokic, you rarely see, right? It's kind of interesting. I see more Giannis than Jokic. So it's I would say, Dwayne Wade sometimes, but it's interesting. Some of those ones, like I said, that Jokic, who's the highest ranked player in NBA 2K now, right? Going into this next year, you don't see his jersey anywhere. Like Shohei Ohtani, right? Shohei Ohtani doesn't let that shit that his jerseys are sold in away stadiums because he sells so many, right? So that's it's probably like, LeBron. I wouldn't be surprised if the Charlotte Hornets had a LeBron jersey for sale or something like that, just because it's
now that Michael doesn't own them anymore. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah,
right.
Well, they're probably selling Jordan jerseys, but
yeah. But like I said, I wanted to hit on that. Is there anybody? Okay, so I'm going to name some. Let's have a fun game. Okay, I'm going to name some names that might be borderline fringe or whatever. Tell me if they get into the Basketball Hall of Fame someday.
Okay.
Donovan Mitchell.
Borderline.
I agree.
I say yes.
I agree. Okay. All right. Evan Mobley. I think he. I know it's so early, but if his game is what I think, I could see that one actually over Donovan Mitchell.
Who is he like then? What player?
I think he's like a Kevin Garnett mixed with he's got all these attributes that he could. I mean, he's not there yet. He's nowhere near
Chris Bosh.
Near there.
But Chris Bosh, and yes, that's who the comparison.
Wasn't he taking number 4 or 3? Chris Bosh.
Bosh was taken fourth.
Yeah, Mobley was taken third.
He was taking third.
Third.
Oh, this is close.
Yeah.
But Bosh had more of a perimeter game than Mobley, right?
Yeah,
but that's what you want, though. You could see Mobley having it. You could see him having that stretch 4. Like he could hit that perimeter shot.
We shall see this year.
That'd be perfect. Could you imagine if we had that?
If he does, the Cavs
then you can stretch him at
next level.
3. You put him at 3, even if you have another big. You run a big lineup. You could have him at the 3.
I'm gonna throw out. Let's throw out another guy. Let's LeBron
Darius
James.
Garland.
Just LeBron James. I think he's in. I think he's in.
Darius Garland.
Darius Garland. Oh gosh. Now, I think the problem is I think Mobley is gonna be that kind of a different kind of player where he's not gonna have to win a title. I think making the finals for him would get him in. But I think people like Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, I think rings do matter for those kind of positions. I think wing players matter when it comes to winning rings, I think. Unless you're Allen Iverson or somebody like that. So if Darius Garland has like an Iverson career, but I don't think he ever will because they don't play basketball like that anymore. It's more.
Damian Lillard. What about him?
He's in. Dame Lillard.
He's in.
He hasn't done shit.
He's in right now if he retired, I think.
What have the Trailblazers done with him? And they've had players, McCollum. They had Marcus Aldridge. He was tough, Marcus Aldridge.
I know.
Brandon Roy.
Well, he's going to go down to Miami, right? That's where he wants to go. Eventually.
Yeah, but it's interesting what's going on with that. Same with Harden, it's interesting with that. We
got to speak on James Harden because he was in China. Talk about Daryl Morey. What are you guys? Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Casey. Thank you. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, going to China and then ripping him the way that he did. I love it. I love that. What I'm saying, I love when players speak their minds, whether good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter to me. But I don't think there'd be Christmas cards exchanged between those two at all.
It just reminds you of when he was in Houston.
Yeah.
When he did his thing,
he's just a problem, man. It's hard to respect people, like doing this shit every year. What else can you have? The spot that you're in compared to other people.
It's kind of tone deaf a little bit, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of like Kyrie. Yeah. I like Kyrie, but it's kind of like him. What else do you want?
maybe Daryl Morey did him dirty. Maybe James Harden's got some legitimate beef. You know, if you
I mean,
promise
probably,
me
but
something,
it's business. Business is business.
well, it's
Yeah.
busy. Well, Harden made it his business to run his mouth. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, so it's I don't know, man. I think I don't know. I just don't. I'm not a huge fan of Harden, honestly.
I'm not either. I think more or less I'm trying to get to the point of, look, he caused drama. It's something to talk about. It's fun. I think as players like him get into their, twilight of their careers too. I mean, you got to win a ring, or I'm sorry, you're going to be that. I wouldn't even call him. Yeah. I mean, that's just. I mean. But I'll say one thing. You speak of people like Dan Marino, when quarterbacks that don't win rings. It's a little different than like players like James Harden, because nobody expects James Harden to be a number one guy on a team anymore. You know what I'm saying? He's got to team up with a bunch of other guys to get it
but
done.
he hasn't done anything.
I know.
Like he has, who has a better career? Who's a better legacy? Russell Westbrook or James Harden?
I'm going to say Russell Westbrook at this point, because of the triple double, and like actually, honestly, they had on Golden State on the ropes or whatever like that. Wasn't.
I know it's interesting. There's so many things too. You look back. Wow, what if Harden would have stayed with OKC and Russell Westbrook? All three of the big three would have stayed together.
Yeah.
What would they have done?
Yeah,
true. But with Harden, I guess it's all about the money.
Well, hey, he's got to pay them strippers.
Yeah. Because he likes to make it rain.
Make it rain. But speaking of rain and speaking of sounds, Casey, do you hear that?
I do.
Keith,
I think I do.
That?
Yeah.
That's right. It's time for Breaking News. This is Eddie Columbus with your We Like Sports Breaking News. As Major League Baseball continues to investigate the social media posts of shortstop Wander Franco for a possible inappropriate relationship with an underage girl, his team, the Tampa Bay Rays, went ahead this past Sunday, as Casey was there, with a Wander Franco snapback hat giveaway where all kids 14 and under received one. We call this in the marketing game knowing your target audience. Right? The Netflix documentary featuring Johnny Manziel debuted this past week. In it, Manziel reemphasized his mantra of win or lose, we booze. Well, watching this documentary, I come away with one of my own. Watch and lose or snooze. And finally, Miles Strawberry hit a home run. This is not a joke. Miles Straw hit a home run, and now I owe Casey a straw jersey after our bet. On the record, I will say this bet had no winners. I lost money in my wallet, and Casey will lose his dignity when he puts it on. This is Eddie Columbus with your We Like Sports Breaking News.
You might be able to get that Miles Straw jersey for a discount after this season. So.
No, there was multiple people wearing it at the game. Not lying.
Yeah, and Casey did have a picture he did send to me. There was at least one. I think it was actually
somebody was wearing a Miles Straw jersey.
There was multiple people wearing Miles Straw jerseys, and at the end of the third game, it was Jimenez out because there was kids running the bases, and Miles Straw was out there, and he was greeted. He had fans coming to take pictures and talk to him after the game. He didn't play, and he had his jersey on.
I know he didn't
with shorts.
play. I seen the game. Yeah.
After the game, he had shorts and his jersey on. He went out there and took pictures with some fans.
Well, we're going to get into something. We're going to shift gears here. We're going to get into Keith. I know, Casey, you love to talk about baseball. You love to talk about your experience, but this is where Keith's eyes are going to light up. This is like throwing red meat to a lion right here. Keith, we're going to talk about preseason. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns. This is your forte. We're going to talk about Stefanski. So I got some questions for you. First, initial thoughts of the game against the Washington Commanders on Friday. Tell us what you saw. I know, plug your podcast that you got or your show that you got. I know I subscribe to it, so get that out for everybody as well.
Yes. Also, check me out on Locked On Sports 216 every Thursday at 7 p.m. And check me out when I do some of my shorts and stuff. I'll start doing that also. But honestly, with the Browns game Friday, I seen really all what I wanted to really see with the first team offense. With Deshaun, that offense looks different. And think about it. It was no Chubb and no Amari Cooper. and they went down the field at will. Now they got kind of a little caught up at the end of the drive at the 2-yard line, where
Well,
they ran
yeah,
a couple
yeah.
plays that
Yeah.
normally Felton's not in that situation, and they're not going to run Kelly in that situation.
No.
Kelly might not even be on the team at all, but
I like him. I
what
hope
I
they can
seen.
I hope they can practice squad him because we've had him the last couple of years, and I kind of like what he can do. So hope just like a Dearness Johnson, hope we can practice squad him, and if we ever do need him for injury situations. But Keith, I wanted to get to your point about the offense moving so effortlessly down the field, with the first team. That was nice to see. And another thing I liked about it, I want to hear your thoughts about it. It's nice that in the NFL, sometimes plays break down. We got Deshaun Watson that had 3 scrambles. One was a designed read option, and the other one was 2 where he had to improvise. Nobody was open. It's nice to see Deshaun not only get like first downs when he needs to with his legs, but like he's in command of those runs. Like it's not like he knows when to get down. He knows when to slide. He doesn't. I don't hold my breath like this cat's gonna get hurt here. He looks like somebody that's done it before, like he has done it before. But it's nice to have that element in the Stefanski offense. Tell us what are your thoughts about that, and how much better do you think the Cleveland Browns will be? How many more percentage-wise third downs will they get because they have Deshaun Watson? He's a weapon, and it's nice to see that we can actually use it now.
Oh yeah, because now you can't zero in on nobody because now you got to worry about that threat of him running. I think last year was really an outlier because I don't think he was really mentally there, honestly.
Right.
And this year, he's mentally there.
He looks locked and loaded, right?
Yes, sir. He's mentally there. So, and think about this. They ran that first team. And think about this. Washington's defense is probably one of the better defenses in the league.
Yeah, their D-line's no joke. Yeah.
Oh, no. Sure ain't. And like I said, they drove down the field easily. Like you cutting through Swiss cheese or something. So
what did you think? And I loved it. What did you think about the Elijah Moore handoff? I thought that was nice. Little speed on speed action right there.
Yeah.
Anthony Schwartz, man.
No.
The anti-Schwartz. He's got the speed of Schwartz, but he actually holds on to the ball and can catch.
Yeah. Man,
Heaven
that's a
forbid
new
wide
dimension.
receiver.
And think about this. The Browns ain't had nobody like that with speed and can catch.
I thought that was a good trade.
When have they had somebody like that? I know they ain't had it in the last 20-some-odd years.
No, because you know what? We're old school, Keith. Like, you know what? I would have loved to see what Eric Metcalf would have been running in today's offenses. He would have been somebody like that.
Man.
I know.
Joe Vicious.
And that was the last time they had a threat like that. Elijah Moore with Eric Metcalf. You right.
Yeah.
Mohamed Massaquoi.
Stop. Brian Robisky.
Oh, God. He couldn't even get off the line of scrimmage.
Casey, what are your thoughts about the Cleveland Browns? I know you were in Tampa and everything, but
so I didn't watch the game because of that. But we were talking. You just said about third downs, right? Conversions because you got the guy who can run. What's the negative of a guy who can run? Not injuries, holding penalties.
Oh yeah, with the line, right.
Because with the line moving, right, and the pocket not collapsing, they don't know that, right, and then it just get thrown around. So that could be tough with that.
Well, they'll hopefully readjust. Hopefully
correct. So then we're going to the other question I have for Keith with this matter too. I want to hit was the offensive line, right? We've got Joel Bitonio, we've got Wyatt Teller, right, 2 big guys. You got Jed Wills. Is he the answer, right? Who's our center? Posick, right?
Yeah, Ethan Posick.
Is he the answer, right? So you look. What do you think of the offensive line? That's a big thing when it comes to running with Chubb, and then keeping Watson protected and being able to not worry about that holding penalty when he runs for that.
Honestly, I'm not worried about the inner 3. Especially if Teller can stay healthy. I'm not worried about the inner 3 because Posick was solid last year. He was solid. He was like a blessing in disguise when Nick Harris went down. And he stayed there. Joe Bitonio, what more needs to be said? Now, Teller, if he can stay healthy this year, the inner is tough. Now, the outside.
Yeah, let's go there, Keith. Let's go there. Let's see what you got to say.
The blind side as well.
Outside, Chedrick Wills. You might see a DeJuan Jones sighting pretty soon.
Ed, do you know anything about him?
He's big. He's from The Ohio State University, and I like the guy. I think he's gonna. I think he's probably maybe a year away from being a solid player.
It's rare though to see someone like that play that position.
And what's my other guy name on the right side?
Exactly my point.
The tackle on the right side, the dude they re-signed him last year.
Conklin, right?
Yeah, Conklin. Which
I forgot about Conklin.
I'm shocked that they re-signed him.
I am too. I am too.
I'm shocked. I'm like, what? But if Conklin can stay healthy, we cross our fingers, they're going to be something to be reckoned with.
I agree.
Because I'm not really worried about the three inside. It's the two on the out. The tackles I'm worried about.
You got the backup left tackle right now is James Hudson III. Our backup right tackle right now is DeJuan Jones. Right guard's Drew Forbes. Center's Nick Harris, and left guard is Michael Dunn right now. So that's what we're looking at as sadly someone's getting hurt, right? It's going to happen. So we dropped to someone's going to have to step up right there. Or if we were to replace Jed Wills, right? Who would we have? And the other one you look at is tight end. We've talked a little bit about Jordan Akins, I think his last name is.
Yes.
I think that's a pretty good backup tight end. Because then you got Harrison Bryant, who was a big, draft pick. He won that best tight end in the college football, right?
Harrison Bryant's spot is in danger.
Exactly. So you got him, and then Akins, I think, is pretty under the radar, a good signing, right? To back up Njoku. Having the tight end in Stefanski's offense too is big, because they run those two tight ends a lot. And with no fullback, right, you're going to have sometimes one of them back in the, depending what the formation is they run. So I think that offensively, man, I think we're a pretty good upgrade, to where we're at. Having Peoples-Jones as a 3, I don't. I'm not saying I'm drinking the tea here or the Kool-Aid, but looking
You're
at
drinking
it,
the Miller High Life, the champagne of beer.
That's right.
You're drinking the Pepsi.
If that offense is as good as they could be, right?
Well, speaking of offense, I got a question for you. I'm gonna hit you.
Cade York.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Because I think the answer is yes. DTR is the backup quarterback. Yes or no? Save a roster spot. Why do you need Dobbs when you got DTR?
I want to say yeah, but I think they're gonna go with Dobbs anyway as the backup, because if something happens to Sean, you don't want to throw a rookie in there.
No.
Not against AFC.
I think Dobbs has a spot locked.
North. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I think Dobbs has spots there.
Even though he looked the worst on Friday.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna squeeze him in there and stuff, at least for this year.
Yes, and Kellen Mond will be the odd man out, I think.
Yeah.
Let me draw you a picture then. Right? We got DTR as a 3. I agree with you. You're keeping Dobbs as 2. I think you're running with 3. I don't think there's any way possible that our 3 quarterbacks aren't DTR, Dobbs, and Watson. That's the only option I see.
Yeah.
Right? So then here's the scenario. Let's just paint this in the world of Ed, right? You've got this year. We go 6 wins we go. Right? Watson plays the first 5 games of the year, looks like he did last year. Hurts his arm, let's say, shoulder, right? Out for 3 weeks. You get Dobbs in, he's not doing much, right? Not doing much. Then
DTR,
you go
DTR.
you get Watson back, right? Like a couple years ago with Baker, he might be good. He got some rest. He was out. So with him, let's say Watson comes back. We're looking at 7 games in, 2-5. Right, look at 2-5. He starts to struggle some more, right? They go about 2-2, so it's nothing great. Then let's say about game 14. We're out of playoff contention right now. Watson's not still doing much. Do you put Dobbs in? Do you put in DTR? Do you ride with Watson? Right? So let's just say, yeah, you ride with Watson, gets hurt week 16, week 17, 2 weeks left. Dobbs isn't coming back next year because we see he's not the answer as the backup. Do you put in DTR to finish the last 2 games? He has a good 2 games. They go 2-0, right? He puts up good numbers. Offense looks good. Chubb is doing great, right? Stuff with Mari Cooper or Njoku. What do you do going into next year?
You bring Watson back, and you tell DTR that he's the backup, and then basically if Watson, then you play the first 4 games, see what the record is, and if it's not good, then you put DTR in. But I think you tell Watson you're still the starter. We still have faith in you. We're bringing you back. DTR is under a rookie contract. You don't have to promise him much. You promise him the backup job. He'll be happy with that. It's better than being third string. Yep. And then next year, because let's be real, under your scenario, Stefanski gets fired under your scenario.
It might be a whole different scenario next year.
Yeah.
It might be on the rebuild.
What do you think are the odds of that happening?
Well, it's Cleveland, so I hate to say it's probably higher than most cities.
I agree with you. But isn't that crazy to think about? Like, going into like 2 months ago, that's never even a thought process, And we draft this guy. Who cares, right? It's not. He drafted him because he fits the stereotype of your starting quarterback, right?
Yeah,
mobile, African American quarterback, right? So for some reason, that's how it is. And you have to have the same system. Case Keenum, an average white male, not too agile, not
a statue.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like Baker Mayfield. So you always put the guys behind.
Right. You want the same offense. Well, here's the thing. I think what you're trying to say is that the reason why they have DTR and they have Dobbs is Watson. Yes, I understand they're all African American. They're all mobile. I get that. But you're running the same offense. You don't want where the starter gets hurt. Now you got this. It'd be like having like a Brian Hoyer. Then you have this offense that's dynamic for Watson, and then he gets hurt. Then you bring in statue Brian Hoyer. You wouldn't want to do that. You'd want somebody that can not be as good, obviously, to the backup, but still be able to physically run that offense. You look at DTR, you look at Dobbs, they're very athletic. They can run the same kind of plays that Watson can run. So I know what you're getting at, Casey, but I think that's more or less of keeping the offense with some continuity and keeping the game. You know what I'm saying?
And you got to think.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you got to think, last year they probably learned from their ways because they had Brissett.
Yes.
And then they had to change everything over, where Deshaun looked at like a square peg in a round hole with that offense. So now where Deshaun, Josh Dobbs, and DTR can both.
They all can run the same kind of thing.
And Kevin Stefanski don't have to vary too much or differ too much.
I mean, you limit the playbook, but you can still run similar stuff. I mean, it's not like revamping the whole thing and getting.
Do you think Nick Chubb, since we don't have a Kareem Hunt, right? We don't have. I mean, our Ford, right? He could be something, right? But you think Chubb is in fantasy aspects? Is he a top 3 running back?
Yes.
Would you take him in a top 3 pick? Who's going to be receiving now? They said they're not taking him off the field anymore on third down like they have before, right? He's going to have to start catching the ball. I don't think he wears gloves when he runs. I think he has bare hands. So is he going to start getting gloves on? Is that going to be different? He doesn't fumble really ever. It's like, oh my God, what's going on? Is he hurt? Is that why he fumbled it? Because he never lets go of the ball. So is he a top 3 in fantasy running? Like, Christian McCaffrey type guy, Saquon type guy. Is Chubb up there as well? And he's on the Browns. Think about this. That's the other worry is like he's a Browns player.
He's not really the biggest fantasy guy because he doesn't get as many carries.
But going into this year with Kareem Hunt not there, he probably will.
I think this will be different. See, I see your point, Casey. I think that looking at the history, it's easy to say no, but I think this Browns offense is going to be a lot different. And the fact is, in your scenario also too, like if Deshaun Watson starts struggling more, I can see him just getting more carries because he averages 5 yards a carry. So even if he averages three, if he averages 3 or 4 more carries a game, that's like an extra 20 yards. I mean,
that's
exactly.
So yeah, I do think he is. I think definitely top 5. I don't know top 3, but maybe definitely top 5. I think that's fair.
Yeah, he's definitely top 5.
I don't want to. Oh, another thing too, because we're talking Browns heavy here. Cade York, he's not good. What do you do, Keith? Any competition? Get a shrink? What do you do for Cade York?
I say you would bring in another kicker in for competition. I think iron sharpens iron. Because I think part of the problem with Cade York is he figure I could do whatever I want right now.
You think he's an entitled jerk? Is that
I think he's a lost cause, man.
I ain't gonna say he's entitled, but I just think he's gotten too much too soon.
Okay.
He hasn't really had to earn his way onto the team. You know what I'm saying? And don't look like they're gonna sign another kicker or anything, but
Robbie Gould's still out there.
Yeah, but when it comes down to it, things gonna change if he blow one of these games that the Browns should win.
Last year.
And you got to think, this is the year of jobs.
Yeah, jobs are on the line. Hot seats are hot.
It's all around. It's all around Cleveland.
Yeah,
yes.
all three Cleveland teams. I feel like jobs are on the line.
I agree.
Well, I think Terry can go when he please. So but
a lot of people wanting to see that sooner than later nowadays.
That's what I'm saying, but it's like Urban Meyer, It's the same kind of thing.
But I think also, Terry, in fairness to Francona, I think C needs more to work with.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But I wanted to hit something fun real quick, because we always do this. I'm going to take us back to 2004 today.
I just have them pulled up too, so let's see.
Okay, well, fine. We'll go to. Okay, so my thing is, this Cleveland pitcher got shot in the leg while on the team bus, dressed as a cheerleader and wearing go-go boots. Can you name this Cleveland Indians pitcher? And then I'll get into the situation. I remember this, but 2004, this pitcher got shot. He was on the Cleveland Indians team bus. He was wearing a cheerleading costume and go-go boots and was shot. Real bullets here. Real bullets. Do you remember his name? He didn't really do much, so I'm not expecting you guys to get it.
My mind is blank.
But do you remember the story, though, at all?
All I remember was
I do not.
I don't. Only thing I remember about one of the Cleveland pitchers back in the days was the one that was making Japanese porno movies.
Out in Columbus?
No, I do remember. Who was that? I do remember that, though.
It was a Japanese pitcher that they had.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't he the closer or something that we brought him in from? I do remember, yeah.
He is making gay porn or something. I'm not sure.
You got pitchers and catchers in baseball. The other thing, okay, so the name of this guy, his name is Kyle Denny, and here's the situation. Kyle Denny, it was late in the season. Cleveland was at Kansas City. They were getting on their bus to head to, I think, Minnesota. Go to the airport, and then they're going to go to Minnesota. And on the on-ramp, they got somebody shot at the team bus, and he got hit in the leg, and he had to go to the hospital. But because he had on go-go boots, it was only like a flesh wound. But yeah, it was hazing for the rookies, and he had gone to Oklahoma to play baseball, and I guess he was wearing USC cheerleading, because at the time USC was number 1 in the polls in 2004, and Oklahoma was number 2, and that's what they were doing. So Kyle Denny, hopefully you're not dressed up as a cheerleader in go-go boots, but if you are, God bless you, and hopefully you're not getting shot at. Casey, what you got us? We're going back to 2004. We know his favorite year.
All right. So since 2004, I'm going to give you the Browns since Keith's here. Next week, I'm going to give you a WWE flashback to 2004. So stay tuned for next week for the WWE flashback to 2004. But this week, we're going to stay with the Browns. Last week, Keith easily guessed Orpheus Roy as the player. So I'm going to paint the scene for you. Quick rundown here. 2004, we were 4-12. Terry Robisky, head coach, as well as Butch Davis. Shadzinski and Robisky was our OC. Dave Campo was our DC. We had Bowles and Pagano on our assistant staff. So this player played for the Cleveland Browns for 8 years of his 11-year career. His other 3 years he played for the San Diego Chargers.
Hmm.
We've got a combined 106 games played with the Browns, and he is a tight end. In 2004, he played in 13 games, had 42 targets, 28 catches, 287 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Mark
Who
Campbell?
is this Cleveland Brown tight end?
It's not Campbell.
Hmm.
Steve Hayden.
Stephen Allen Hayden. Correct.
Wow.
He
He
played
made
in
a big catch in
career-
Green Bay in 2006. I remember that when we went up and beat Green Bay. Romeo Crennel's like second year.
He was a third-round pick by the Chargers in 1999. He came out of South Dakota State.
Maybe I like 2004 more than you do with the whole Orpheus Roy and now Steve Hayden. Maybe I'm a big 2004 fan.
Yeah, and he's built the same as you too. 6'5", 270.
Oh shit! I look down on him.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, next week we will be going into the WWE ring in the flashback.
Well, thank you for that. Obviously, 2004. And okay, so Casey, can you bring it up? We've adopted the American League West. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the standings and let us know. I believe the Texas Rangers are still in first place with the Houston catching them, I think. So can you give us our AL West standings? Because we got numerous fans of the
yes,
AL.
I will give you the standings of the AL West as well.
Our adopted division. You know what? Say it with more pride. We're proud papas of the AL West here.
We are proud papas, just like the Rangers are
Yes.
proud papas currently of the AL West.
Yes.
So we've got the Texas Rangers at 70-48. Last 10 games, 8-2. So they're going strong. Behind him, we have the Houston Astros, right? Always successful, always in the top, making the playoffs.
Always
right?
cheating.
Yeah, 68-51, 2.5 games back of the Rangers, and they're 2.5 games up in the wild card. Last 10, 6-4. Not bad staying around what they're at. We got third place. We talked about him before. Getting the year I talked about him, I said, hey, maybe there's a chance they could pull away if Texas doesn't hang. That is the Seattle Mariners. They're 63-54.
They didn't came out of nowhere.
Yep, 6.5 games back of first place. They are 6.5 games back, or 1.5 game back from the wild card, second spot in wild card in the AL. And their last 10, 8-2, just like Keith said. So they're could make some noise, right? Because they're only game and a half back for the wild card, and they had potentially brought them up, right? So, we're talking about standings in baseball. What's kind of crazy to me is I said I get to the game early. They show you all the standings, right? Run through all the things. We would be in like fourth. We would not be above third place, I don't think, in any other division, and we would have no shot at all of winning that division. And there's probably like 10 plus teams that have a better record than us that are not going to make the playoffs due to just the way the division we're in.
Yeah, we would be. I know we'd probably be in like 6th place in the American League East.
Exactly. Yeah, we will be, because the Yankees would be like, that's it. All the Yankees are horrible. What happened to them this year? Yeah. If we switched divisions,
well, we're not even on. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
We don't.
You don't want to do that.
Are we the A's? Like, like,
maybe. Are we closer to the? Here's a question for us: are we closer to the A's and Royals than we are like Tampa and like Baltimore and Texas?
I mean, you got to think we're 57 wins, right? Yeah. Let me give you some teams that are around 57 wins to see what you think. There's no one there. Let me see. No one in the AL, because there's no one that's bad. The Mets have 53. The Nationals have 53. The Pirates have 53. The Cardinals have 52. The Padres have 56. The Rockies have 45.
And all those teams suck.
Yep. And then in the AL, you've got.
Matter of fact, Detroit is only like 4 games behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, so I'm just naming it. I'm naming the teams who are better than right now, record wise. The Tigers are, like you said, 4 games below us. 3.5, actually. We've got no one in the AL East even is not as bad as us. And then in the West, you have the A's worse than us. So the teams that are worse than us are only the A's, the Royals, the White Sox, the Tigers, which blow, like Heath said, the Pirates, the Cardinals, the Mets, the Nationals, the Padres, and the Rockies. I would say the Padres, they're good, maybe. They're a tough division, right? But the rest of those teams, what do you think that, like, you know, that's impressive? That we can still make the playoffs,
right?
With that situation.
I mean, I'm not going to apologize for our situation, but I guess to rephrase the question, are we closer to being a contender or blowing? We blow. I think we're closer to
blow.
blowing.
What did I say? It's simple. They blow.
We blow.
It's
I think
over.
Expert analysis that only you can see and hear, and then we like sports show.
We blow.
That's
it's
right.
over with. It's about next year. I actually want to see the real big dude down in Columbus come up.
John Kenzie Noel. He's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Noel.
Him and the other guy, though, Ramirez guy, I think.
Oh, yeah, the one that was at AA, and then he came.
Yeah.
Rodriguez?
Yeah,
Rodriguez. I want to see him, too.
It's like Gabriel Rodriguez.
Yeah. I think it's from I know
who you're talking.
I think it might be Ramirez. I think he might be right.
Because honestly,
those might I don't know. Ramirez, Gonzalez, or Rodriguez. One of them. Pick one.
Those might be your two corner outfielders next year.
Yeah.
I think there's in center.
Yeah. There's hope. But I know I wanted to touch on something else too. Speaking of like polls and things like that, the college football polls came out today. And so the coaches poll came out last week or whatever. Had Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, LSU, USC, Penn State was 7. So the only difference that with the AP poll between the coaches poll was you got Georgia still at 1, say Michigan at number 2, the same. The only difference is Alabama, Ohio State are flip-flop. So Ohio State's actually 3rd in the AP, where Alabama is 4th. Penn State both 7th in both polls. And the only other difference is you have Tennessee 10th in the coaches poll, and they got Washington 10th in the AP poll. So, I mean, college football is almost here. They still haven't named a starter. Ryan Day hasn't at Ohio State yet, which kind of scares me.
I was about to get to that.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh's suspension's up in the air with the NCAA. He's fighting with that, so we'll see where that goes. But I know we're bigger probably NFL fans here, but Casey, what are your thoughts? And then we'll go to Keith on who is it going to be the same suspects in college football this year?
You got to think here. I think there's recency bias just to last year. Obviously, all these polls are like that. But you've got Georgia, right? They're where they're at right now. You've got like Michigan.
Yeah.
You know, like they're there because they beat us last year.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they're ahead of us. I think we should be where we're at, ahead of Alabama, just because we were in a better spot than Alabama last year.
I agree.
Alabama didn't make the playoff, right?
Right.
But then you've got the history of Alabama, but Ohio State, like they're both, serious, but Ohio State hasn't won as many championships as Alabama, right? Stands up to me as Tennessee, right? You said that they're 10. You said Penn State's up there too, right?
7. I'm 7th in both polls.
Yes. So that's interesting because you've got Penn State at 7. If they beat Ohio State or they beat Michigan, and they could make it up there, right? Because who are they playing? I'm not sure their schedule, but if they're not playing
it's not that tough. It's not that tough.
Or it could be a scenario where 2 of those 3 could still make the playoffs.
They're at Ohio State, Penn State, but they got Michigan.
Who could say Penn State, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan make it? Could you imagine that? Like that's crazy to think about because the Big Ten's not talked about as, oh my God, they're the next big thing, right? So they're playing Ohio State as well as Michigan and Iowa. Those are the only 3 teams that they're playing that are ranked.
And they got Michigan at home. They do got Michigan at home.
Yeah, and they play them late in the season, right? Yeah. So they got Ohio State in the middle. It's Iowa's 4 games in, Ohio State 3 after that, and Michigan 3 after that. So, hey, who says there's not a chance that it could? And 10 is Tennessee. Why was Tennessee good last year?
Hendon
Hooker.
Hendon Hooker.
What happened when Hendon Hooker got hurt?
They didn't win.
Exactly. Who says that's just not an RG3 thing, right? You had a good quarterback with Baylor. What happened after that? Right?
I think what's the name starting for Tennessee this year? The Milton kid, he's starting this year, quarterback, I think.
But still, he doesn't. Who says it's Oregon, right? Oregon had that good section when they had Mariota. You lose that quarterback, it just falls back down. You had so I was thinking of somebody else that was just like that. that you have. Oh, Boise State.
Yeah. Well, TCU, they got in one of the polls. That even TCU, they're like I think like 11th or 12th in some of these polls, and I think that might even be a little bit overrated for them because I mean they lost that quarterback, from last year. That was pretty good.
If you really look at it, the only team really returning a quarterback is Michigan.
It's Michigan, yep, and 7
Max
of 11
Duggan.
starters on defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got Michigan was like running, wasn't that QB by committee last year? Weren't they taking?
Yeah, I think McCarthy. I think he's figured it out. I mean, look what he did against Ohio State.
He's the real deal. Yeah,
I think so. JJ McCarthy. I think he's figured it out.
And we haven't figured out our quarterback situation yet, and that got me nervous.
Well, Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, he's funny.
He would look good right now. He would start right now for Ohio State.
I think he would. Yeah.
I don't know. What kind of quarterback do you want to see, though? You want to see a Justin Fields? Do you want to see?
I want to see one that doesn't
Stroud?
throw interceptions.
Do you want to see a Terrell Pryor? You want to see a Cardale Jones?
I want to see a quarterback that can run the offense like they did in the years past.
I'll take a Craig Krenzel as long as we get to the title game.
Right.
Texas is going in number 11 this year.
Okay.
But they're playing Alabama. They're playing.
Well, they ain't gonna be a number 11.
They had Bam on the ropes last year in that first game, and
TCU,
field goals.
Kansas State. They're playing some tough teams.
They got a tough schedule.
That's what I'm saying. So in Texas, it's tricky. Yeah, the Big 12s, it's winnable, but you got some. There's not like standout teams, like a ton of standout ones, but there's a good bunch of solid teams that are around each other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so we hit that, and then I wanted to talk about this. Our last movie standing poll that we have on Field of Dreams destroyed The Natural. I think like 76%, but we'll put more movies up there. So check out the We Like Sports page on X or Twitter, as it's still referred to. But I wanted to get into this. Speaking of movies, this came out today. Michael Orr of Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah,
The Blind Side. So it came out today that he didn't know that he's not getting any royalties and stuff because he wasn't really adopted by the family that took him in. I never thought Sandra Bullock would lie to me. I know she's just a character in the movie playing somebody, but
you got her poster, don't you?
Yeah, Sandra Bullock's hot. No, I think so. What's your takes on that, Keith? So, I can't blame the brother for taking it to legal matters. If that family's getting paid all those millions in royalties off his name and off what
nothing,
he did,
I'd be hot. Because the movie, they looking at it because of him. For real.
Yeah, he thought he was adopted, and it turns out that he wasn't legally, and I guess he had signed some piece of paper, basically signing over his rights to any future royalties and payments from that movie. Casey,
signed over his likeness.
Yeah. What do you think about that? I mean, is there anything that you would do, or shady people like that, or is it kind of like that Seinfeld lawyer? What's
Jackie Childs?
Yeah, is that the kind of lawyer play right there?
Correct. I mean,
your face is my case, and that's how I look at it when it comes.
Yeah, exactly. And then with Kramer when he dumped the coffee down his pants, and he used that ointment, that special ointment. They lost the case, and they could have won millions. And then they were gonna. He's like, "Oh, what's the deal?" And he said, "Coffee for whatever life." And he's like, "Deal." He didn't take any money. Yeah, correct. I mean, would you know who he was if it wasn't for that movie?
No. I know he's played the Browns. I mean, I know the name only because he's a lineman that played the Browns, but I wouldn't know that name now. I wouldn't have known it, 6 months after the Browns played them. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. You only know him because of the movie. So, you got the benefit on one side, but you also got the notoriety because of that. So
exactly,
it's interesting to think about. It's
like
Johnny Manziel.
It's scandalous. Yeah, it's just kind of.
Like Manziel, it's different because you'll always know Johnny Manziel.
Yep.
Because of Money Manziel and the story of the situation, right? It's going to be lived on, like it'll be brought back 10 years ago. The Browns drafted Johnny Manziel after John Gruden said he should have been taken as the first quarterback, right? Like that clip right there. Manziel's always going to be a name people know, right? Only reason, again, he's in this conversation is because of the movie, right? You're not talking, he's going to make the Hall of Fame, and stuff like that. So,
well, not only that, people don't even know his name. They're like, oh yeah, the guy from The Blind Side. They don't say Michael. They say the guy from The Blind Side. They don't even know his name. I mean,
correct.
I mean, so I find that kind of disheartening, and it's sad that he got taken advantage of. I mean, because obviously he did.
Hopefully they work it out.
I'm sure that family did a lot for him. I'm not saying they didn't, but obviously they're probably getting more than what they put in. It sounds like millions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they rectify that situation, and I'll have no further comment until there's more legal paper filed.
Right.
But I guess before we sign off here, I want to go around like I always do, and final thoughts. Anything that want to say? Anything coming up? Obviously more preseason football. The Browns are practicing against the Eagles. Hopefully nobody gets hurt this week. Guardians are in Cincinnati to play the Reds. That'll be a fun little series. 2 games. Ohio Cup. Yeah, absolutely. And Casey down in Orlando doing Orlando things. So, what's going on. So we'll start with Keith. We'll start with you first. We'll go counterclockwise like a tornado.
I will say it like this, and I'm just going to say this and be brief. K. York, get your shit together. Too much hinges on your foot.
You're not lying.
That's all.
That's the truth right there. That's truth. And Keith don't even have beef with him. Keith don't even have beef, and he's,
It's like, dude, get your stuff together. If you got to have your kids out there all night long to make kicks, do so. I don't want to hear about them making 70-yard field goals in Berea because it don't mean nothing because you ain't got no rush coming at you. And you ain't got a stadium of 70,000 folks. K. York, get your stuff together because do you really want to see Stefanski lose his job because of games where average NFL game is decided by 3 points?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
K. York, get it together.
Get your stuff together, K. York. Casey, what you got for us?
I've got an idea to pitch here. Live on the show here, Ed. I got an idea for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Is the tie on tight enough?
It is. Yes.
All right. He's got to make sure. Look at your Sunday best. He's got to make sure. Speaking of Sundays, NFL season. Ed, what do you think? What do you think of this? Have occasional live watch-alongs for the Browns games. See Ed and Columbus's true reaction live to the Browns games.
That's a touchdown and a 2-point conversion right there, Casey, right there.
There we go. That's right. Peyton Vince hear that. We might be going on Sunday show during the Browns. He watch along, for a half or something, that second half of the game, depending on how the game is going. Or if, not a big game, we might do a after 1 o'clock game or after the 4 o'clock games, do a recap of, what's going on to the NFL.
As long as Casey, as long as you're there with me and you keep, what I'm saying, we got to have this. We're a squad here. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do it on the We Like Sports show. Casey, I think that's a grand idea. I love it. I love it. My only thing I got this week is my kids go back to school. Hallelujah.
No, you happy.
Hallelujah. So hopefully I wish them the best. I will be in Lancaster, Ohio this Friday as Taste Valley takes on Lancaster. Lancaster is home of Bobby Carpenter and Carpenters and all the Ohio State alums and all that.
Better watch out. He's a whack.
That's right. High school do start this week. Man.
It does. So yeah, check it out. If you're around, I will say one thing: the purest sport is still high school football. I love the atmosphere. I love the band. I love to hear the squads going at each other. It's always great stuff. So high school football, especially in the great state of Ohio, check it out. But check us out next Monday. We will be back next Monday at 5:30 with another rousing edition of the We Like Sports show. I want to thank my co-hosts Casey and Keith for going along this journey with me this week. And I just want to say, go Browns, go Guards, go Caps, go whoever your team is. We like sports, and we like that you joined us. And have a good one, everyone. Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace.